Good morning, Nigeria. Good morning, Abuja. It's another beautiful day on agriculture for today and tomorrow. I am happy to be your host as always. My name is Daniel Black, and here we promote smart solutions for greener harvest. On agriculture for today and tomorrow, today we will be talking about value chain addition in various staple crops in Nigeria. Remember, in our last episode, we were talking about one of our last episodes. We were talking about the in the hike in interest in exportation, and we also identified that could be a very a major nightmare for Nigerian agricultural market, as we will have serious flight, capital flight, and we will have the inflation that we are seeing now, because we sell raw materials at a very reduced cost, only for us to import back those byproducts at an inflated cost, at a high cost, so thereby robbing Peter to pay Paul. So today we will be going on a series once every week to identify some very stable crops in Nigeria, some very high crops that are very stabilized and highly produced in Nigeria, and see what value chain can be coming out of them. So yeah, today we are going to be starting with something very common, something that of course we all know, but I'm sure that we are going to be mentioning some things you did not know could be made out of cassava, and then you could also begin to. So the essence of this episode, the essence of this segment, is to actually inspire some people. Someone seated at home and thinking, what can I do? I don't want to be a farmer, I don't want to, but then you can actually go into the value processing. You can begin to process. So now you will know what you can use cassava. If you are living in an environment where there is massive cassava, there is plenty production, and sometimes some of them go to waste because of rejection from companies, you could actually start a mini processing plant and produce some of those things. So yeah, cassava, as we all know, is very highly versatile crop in Nigeria. It can be produced into various products for food form, and of course beyond food, it can also be produced into industrial uses, and of course animal feeds it can be used. So this basically is for people that have access to cassava. Next week we will pick another crop and also analyze the value chain of that crop. So cassava is what we'll be talking about today, but let's start from the known to probably the semi or the not fully known, right? So let's start from food production. Of course, we know that cassava is used for food. One of the major products of cassava, the major byproduct of cassava, is what we call garri. Garri is a staple. I doubt there is any home that does not make use of garri. And like the funny joke that says garri does not advertise, but it is one of the highest selling products in Nigeria. Have you ever seen a garri advert? I mean a regular garri advert. Even people that are packaging garri now in packs, and they do not advertise garri, they advertise their packs, because garri is a product that advertises itself. Garri is a product that has been helping Nigerian students, helping Nigerian youths, helping Nigerians from time immemorial. So of course garri is key. So going into garri production, setting up a garri production mill is a business that will never go out of place. In fact, it's a business that will always be there. So someone may be sitting there like, I have some money in the bank, what can I do? I'd like to go into the agricultural space. I'd like to be an I'd like to have an agro business. Why don't you set up a modern garri production facility? Most of the production methods that our forefathers used to use, that are in the olden days, are very crude, have take a whole lot of energy to control, to manage, and then of course are not really hygienic. So as an innovative, as a modern day investor, business person, you can go into garri production. You don't even need to come and do all the hula labu of and say you want to brand, you want to put in packs and all of that. Garri already has a standard packaging, so all you need to do is do efficient and hygienic processing, and you put it in the regular bags, put it in the open market, and of course you will find out that people that love premium quality will buy from you. Imagine people knowing a particular type of bag is used for a particular type of garri. Already we have the different types of garri. They say the Atam garri, the Benue garri, and all of these types of garris have their different advantages. Some are good for soaking and all of that. Let's not spend so much time, but yes, we all know that cassava can do can be used to make garri, and of course it can also be used to make a direct flour. This flour can be used for either baking, for baking purposes, can also be used to make another form of swallow. which we always call fufu. So cassava flour, depending on the processing method, can be converted into so many different things. So imagine also setting up a cassava flour processing plant. All right, so yeah, of course we know the fufu, the akpu, we know the starch, and tapioca is where the small flakes that you can eat, is soaked in water and is eaten with various many other. So it's a delicacy in Nigeria, where and I think across the world there are other places that also have the tapioca delicacy. Some eat it with fresh fish, some eat it with coconut. I see someone already salivating. So you could actually do a delicacy. If you have a restaurant, you can actually do a very hygienic, a very well packaged, a very well presentable tapioca dish in your restaurant, and you would have supported the farmer that is farming cassava. You would have increased the value chain, the value of cassava across the value chain. So there's the tapioca, then of course there's the cassava chips and snacks. And do you know that there is cassava bread? You can also make cassava bread, and so that if you're tired of eating akpu, if you're tired of eating garri, you can also still have cassava via the bread. So all these are of course the food products and byproducts of cassava. And then of course for our beverage loving popular audience, cassava can also be used to make ethanol. Cassava can be used to make alcohol that is healthy for consumption, of course, at a moderate level. And once we are talking about alcohol, we also talk about medical purposes. It can also be used as sterilizers. It can also be used for medical purposes, for alcohol-based medical equipment and chemicals, of course. And then, so these are food production byproducts of cassava. And I'm hoping that someone is sitting somewhere and say, wow, I knew this, or probably I did not know this, or probably I forgot, and is being inspired to set up something around that. Beyond food production, cassava also has industrial value, industrial byproduct, and some of the industrial byproduct is the production of industrial starch that is being used in paper, used in textile, and used in adhesive industry. So you can also go into mass production of cassava to supply companies that use industrial starch, or you can have a processing factory to process industrial starch and supply to these other companies as a raw material for them. Of course, there are so many of these companies that are looking for it, and they're looking for, and you should know that the cassava produced in Nigeria is of very high quality with so much starch that these companies are struggling and running all over to get our cassava. We also talk about biofuel. We have bioethanol that can be used in, as biofuel for power generation in farms, in estates, and in different places. So cassava can be used for power generation. How interesting is that? So if you are in a place with so much cassava, especially those that are going to waste, maybe because they have indenture, maybe because they are not wholly formed and all of that. You can actually set up a biogas plant using this waste cassava, and that is the beauty of it, so that no part of this cassava goes to waste. We will be going on a short break now, and when we come back, we will continue on other byproducts of cassava that you can invest in, you can go into to increase the value chain and also improve the local market usage of cassava. See you after the short break.
We are a nation blessed with people of diverse cultures, religions, languages, and opinions. It is ironic that we are now being ripped apart by our greatest strength, our diversity. We have allowed intolerance, insensitivity, bigotry, and nepotism to blind our vision of the greatness we can achieve working together as one. We may not have the same culture, nor religion, nor language, but we all belong to the same nation by the divine will of God. We did not choose to be Nigerians. Nigeria chose us. This nation is our divine heritage, and if we open our eyes, we will...
Welcome back from that short break. We've been discussing about the value chain of cassava and inspiring someone. Remember, here we promote smart solutions for greener harvest, and I hope we are inspiring somebody to go into processing of cassava to set up a mini factory and process cassava into the various different forms. So we were talking about the bioethanol, the industrial uses of cassava, the bioethanol. There is the glucose syrup, which is used as natural sweeteners in different food produces. So glucose syrup can also be created, and if you go into production of glucose syrup from cassava, you will have so many companies that need natural organic sweeteners come to you. Then of course acetone and butanol, chemicals derived from cassava for industrial use, acetone and butanol. Then as a third edition, as the third group, we've talked about the food production value of cassava. We've talked about industrial production value of cassava. I want to talk about animal feed production value of cassava. You need to understand that every part of the cassava can be used, can be pelletized, can be shredded into animal feed. So I usually work in farms. I see farms after harvest of cassava, the whole leaves are being wasted. The whole leaves are being left to desiccate on the soil. These leaves can actually be shredded. These leaves can actually be cut, dried, and used as foliage for animal feed. So are you where these things are in excess? Are you where you do not know that you can actually create an animal feed meal using either the stems, the leaves, or the tubers of cassava? I think you should wake up today and begin to gather these things from different locations, set up a small machine that can turn these things into pellets, that can dry them, maybe like a dehydrator or something, and begin to package them. And of course, they carry organic and micro and macronutrients needed by these farms, needed by these animals. You will be a very good brand, and animal livestock areas will actually need you. That is all we'll be taking today on agriculture for today and tomorrow. I sincerely hope we have been able to inspire somebody to go into processing of cassava. To continue this conversation, you can join us on social media, continue this conversation. What can you use cassava to do? What are the byproducts in your community that cassava is being used to do? Follow us on social media, on Facebook, on Instagram, on LinkedIn, and of course on YouTube to continue this conversation. See you in the next episode. Thank you.
Part of our fields